I found a hidden camera in my Airbnb on the first night, but it wasn't pointed at the bed. It wasn't pointed at the bathroom. It was pointed directly at the closet. And when I asked the host about it, he told me not to touch it. That's when I realized the camera might not have been there to watch me. It might have been there to watch what came out of the closet after midnight. I found a hidden camera in my Airbnb last October, and I still don't know if it was there to spy on me or to protect me. I'd flown into Western North Carolina for a 3-day work trip. It was supposed to be simple: small town, quick meeting, 2 nights, then back home. The hotel options were either fully booked or way overpriced because some fall festival was happening nearby, so I ended up booking this little Airbnb cabin about 20 minutes outside town. The listing looked normal enough: rustic, private, peaceful woodland retreat, all that stuff. The photos showed a clean little place with a stone fireplace, a tiny kitchen, and 1 bedroom with an old-fashioned closet in the corner. Nothing fancy, but it looked cozy. The reviews were mostly positive too. A few people mentioned weird vibes at night, but I figured that was just people being dramatic because it was out in the woods. I got there around 8:30 p.m. It was already dark, and the road leading up to the cabin was way more isolated than I expected. No neighboring houses, no streetlights, no other cars, just trees and this narrow gravel driveway cutting through them. The cabin itself looked exactly like the pictures, except older, a little more worn down. The porch light flickered when I walked up, and I remember thinking that if this place had been in a horror movie, I would have turned around and driven straight back to town. But I was tired, and I had an early morning meeting, so I unlocked the door and went inside. At first, nothing seemed off. The place smelled like cedar and dust. The living room was small but clean. The kitchen had a handwritten welcome note and a basket of cheap snacks. The bedroom was simple: 1 queen bed, a lamp on each side, a dresser, and a tall wooden closet with mirrored doors. I dropped my bags, took a shower, and called my sister while I unpacked. I even joked with her that I was staying in the kind of cabin where people disappear in documentaries. She laughed and told me to check for cameras. And that's the only reason I found it. After we hung up, I started doing that paranoid thing where you scan smoke detectors, alarm clocks, vents, and random little holes in the walls. I didn't actually think I'd find anything. I was just killing time. Then I noticed a tiny black dot on the bookshelf across from the bed. It was built into one of those fake digital clocks people use in cheap rentals. The display was off, but the lens wasn't hard to spot once I got close enough. It was angled slightly downward, not toward the bed exactly, but toward the right side of the room, toward the closet. I just stood there staring at it for a second, trying to convince myself it was some kind of sensor, maybe motion detection, maybe an old thermostat component. But when I unplugged the clock and turned it over, there was a micro SD card inside. My stomach dropped. I remember feeling this weird mix of anger and embarrassment, like I'd already been watched for hours and just hadn't known it. So I grabbed my phone and messaged the host through the app. I sent one sentence: "Why is there a camera in the bedroom?" He replied less than a minute later: "Do not unplug it. Not sorry, not that's not a camera, not even let me explain. Just do not unplug it." I actually laughed when I read it, but it wasn't because it was funny. It was the kind of laugh you do when your brain doesn't know what else to do. I wrote back, "I already did. I'm contacting Airbnb support." Then I got another message. "Plug it back in. It's not for you. It watches the closet." I stared at that message for a long time. At first, I thought maybe the guy was trying to sound mysterious, so I wouldn't report him. But the more I looked at it, the less it felt like some creepy joke, and more like raw panic. I asked what that was supposed to mean. He didn't answer. By then, I was done. I started throwing my stuff back into my bag. I figured I'd sit in my car, call support, and if I had to, I'd drive back into town and sleep in the airport or something. But as I zipped my suitcase, the power went out. Everything in the cabin died at once. The lamp, the microwave clock, the little porch light outside the curtains, just gone. The silence after that was immediate and heavy. No hum from appliances, no TV in the distance. Just wind outside and tree branches scraping softly against the cabin. Then my phone buzzed. Another message from the host. If the power is out, do not open the closet. Leave the bedroom and lock the door behind you. That was the moment I should have left the house entirely. Instead, I made the mistake of looking at the closet. I don't know what I expected. Maybe for it to be standing open already. Maybe for something to move behind the mirrored doors. But it was shut. Still, something felt wrong. The mirrors reflected the faint light from my phone, and for a second I thought I saw movement in that reflection. Not in the room, in the gap between the closet doors. I backed away slowly. Then I heard it. 3 soft knocks, from inside the closet. Not loud banging, not wood settling. 3 deliberate little taps, like someone inside was trying not to be heard. I froze. Every rational thought I had started fighting at once. Maybe a branch hit the wall, maybe plumbing, maybe an animal in the crawl space. But I knew exactly where the sound had come from, and it was not the wall. It came from inside that closet. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a message. It was a call from the host. I answered immediately and put it on speaker. Before I could say anything, he asked, "Did you hear it?" His voice was shaking. I said, "What the hell is in this house?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said very quietly, "Is the closet still closed?" I looked at it. The right door had shifted open maybe an inch. I swear to God I had not seen it move. I told him it was cracked open, and he just said, "Get out of the bedroom, right now." I should have listened. But fear does weird things to people. Sometimes it makes you run, sometimes it makes you need to see for yourself. I picked up the flashlight on my phone and stepped closer. The air near the closet felt colder. I know how stupid that sounds, but it's true. Like opening a freezer. I put my fingers on the edge of the mirrored door and pulled it open. Inside were a few empty hangers, an extra blanket, and some old coats. Nothing else. I actually felt relief for about half a second. Then I saw the back wall. It wasn't a wall. It was a narrow wooden panel, painted the same color as the interior, with scratches all along the edges like it had been opened 100 times. At the bottom, near the floor, there was a gap just wide enough for darkness to breathe through, and sitting on the closet floor, half hidden under the coats, was a ceramic bowl. It was full of water, fresh water. I backed up so fast I nearly dropped my phone. That's when I heard movement behind the panel. Not an animal. Something heavier. Slow shifting. Careful. Like someone trying not to make the boards creak. The host was still on speaker, yelling now, asking if I opened the door, telling me to leave. Then another voice came from the closet. Soft, raspy, human. Is he gone? I don't think I breathed for 2 full seconds. It sounded like a woman, but wrong somehow. Like her throat was dry, or she hadn't spoken out loud in a long time. I ran. I bolted out of the bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it from the outside with the little hallway latch I hadn't even noticed before. That was the first thing that truly broke my brain. The bedroom door had a lock on the outside. Like someone had wanted to keep something in. I grabbed my keys, my bag, and headed for the front door, but before I reached it, I heard the bedroom doorknob turn. Once. Twice. Then very slowly, Something scratched across the wood from the inside. The host was yelling through the phone, "Get in your car and drive! Do not wait for police! Drive!" I didn't argue. I ran out onto the porch in the freezing dark and got to my car. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the keys between the seats on the first try. The whole time I kept expecting to look up and see someone standing in the bedroom window. I finally got the engine started, turned the headlights on, and saw the host's truck parked at the end of the driveway. He hadn't told me he was coming. He was just there, blocking the road. For one horrible second, I thought the whole thing had been a setup, that he'd driven out to stop me from leaving. Then I saw him jump out of the truck holding a shotgun and a flashlight. He ran past my car without even looking at me and shouted, "Stay inside!" Then he disappeared into the cabin. I stayed exactly where I was. From the car, I could see the front door hanging open and flashlight beams jerking around inside the house. Then I heard shouting. Not words, just yelling. Furniture falling over. Something shattering. Then one gunshot. Then silence. A full minute later, the host came back out alone. He looked pale, not scared anymore, just exhausted. He walked to my window and said, "You need to leave." I asked him what was in there. He looked back at the cabin for a long time before answering. Then he said, "She was supposed to be gone." That was it. He wouldn't explain anything else. I drove straight to the sheriff's station in town and reported everything. They sent deputies out with me, but when we got back to the cabin, the host was gone. His truck was gone too. The cabin was empty. No blood, no body, no sign of forced entry. Just the broken bedroom furniture, the hidden camera plugged back into the clock, and the closet panel hanging open. Behind it was a narrow crawl space running between the walls. Inside, deputies found blankets, canned food, water bottles, and dozens of little things that didn't belong there. Hair ties, toothbrushes, a wallet, a child's pink sock, and zip ties. The host was never found. Neither was whoever had been living in that crawl space. The sheriff's office told me later that the cabin had originally belonged to the host's parents, and years ago there had been reports that his younger sister used to hide in the walls when she was a teenager. Severe mental illness, they said. She disappeared in her 20s. No one knew if she was dead. No one knew if she had come back. I wish that were the end of it. But 3 weeks later, Airbnb emailed me because the hidden camera had been recovered as evidence, and somehow one of the last video files had synced to the cloud account connected to the listing. I shouldn't have watched it. It was footage from my room that night. The timestamp was 2:14 a.m. The video showed me standing by the bed, reading the host's message on my phone. The room was dim, lit only by the bedside lamp. And behind me, in the mirrored closet door, something was already visible in the gap. A face. Not fully, just one eye and part of a smile. Watching me from inside the closet for almost 2 full minutes before I ever noticed the door move. I deleted the file. I moved apartments 2 months later. And ever since then, whenever I stay in a hotel or rental, I check every vent, every smoke detector, every clock, every mirror. But mostly, I check the closet. Because if I ever find another hidden camera pointed at one thing and one thing only, I'm not staying long enough to find out what it's afraid of.